And one of the very important programs that must go along with education, we always recognize between Chief Code and Uganda Development Initiative that when we sponsor kids for school, then we must prepare for other people to also send their kids to school even when they don't have a sponsor. And the vision that we are working on that is being very successful is that sponsorship should happen for young children. Children who don't anticipate opportunity from the age of 3 until the age of 13 would ideally want to see a child supported in school for the first 13 years of their lives. How do you prepare? How do you prepare people? If they have had their entire primary education paid for, how do you prepare them to take on from them there and support themselves? And enterprise development or wealth creation, and this touches two aspects. One is older people who need to create businesses. We see Uganda Development Initiative not as a donor but as a partner, inspiring Ugandan people increasingly who are getting more prosperous to be able to give to their community. So that what we are doing with Uganda Development Initiative is a positive precedent. And then the Ugandan people can learn that. But how do they learn that unless their own businesses are functioning? And in the United States and European settings and in the developed world in general, people can support philanthropy from their salaries. People can give from what they earn. And this is happening quite a lot. But the challenge with that in the African context is that jobs are very, very scarce. Uganda has a workforce of 11 million people. And these are always described by people who are above the age of 16 who are out of school. So of the 11 million workforce in Uganda, we know that only 4% of those have got a salaried job. And this challenges UDI and Chief Code to work hard on creating businesses. And we've got a number of strategic enterprise interventions that are changing lives that give us certainty that when a child is 13, 14 years old, we will have prepared them to support themselves financially. And one of them is coffee. And we choose coffee because of the land potential of Uganda. Uganda has got, 25% of Uganda's surface area is covered by fresh water. It's one of those countries where you can do large-scale agriculture without need for commercial irrigation or for expensive infrastructure. And that makes it a great place for coffee. And coffee is also good because it is a mature market. The whole world drinks coffee. Coffee is easy to store. If we could get our tomatoes and pineapples and our meats into the American market, we would prosper tomorrow, but you can't. We are a landlocked country. The health regulations, the transportation, the logistics are very difficult. But coffee is one of those things that we have discovered. 300 coffee plants on half an acre can give you up to $1,000 a year if you look after the gardens very, very well. So if we could empower Ugandan young people from the time that they are able to work, and Ugandan children start working in their family gardens very early. As early as the age of 9, a child has their small chicken house, they have got their own garden, and we are looking to say if each of the sponsored children can be assisted to plant half an acre of coffee. And then we want to get this coffee in this country. We have branded it under the Gorilla Summit Coffee because the mountain gorilla is a great seller. It is the biggest tourism brand of the Ugandan community. And so we are looking for outlets for Ugandan coffee, for families who commit to this. We know that every time we sell 1,000 pounds of Ugandan coffee, we are making about $40,000, and we are therefore able to support about 150 children. What a wonderful way to prepare the kids to support themselves after they have been sponsored for about 10 years. And so we're looking forward to many coffee outlets. In Uganda, we have got a program. We have studied the best practices in coffee production all over the world. We know that you have got to have very good fertile soil. You need enough water going into the coffee. We know that when you harvest your coffee, you must not harvest it too early. Many Ugandans are always in financial need. And the risk is that they will pick their coffee before it is ripe because they need to pay their debts. But we have created a cooperative where coffee growers can borrow money while they wait for their coffee to be properly ripe. And we have established our own factory because we want the handling of the coffee after it is harvested to be to world standards, because our primary market is in the developed world. And so we'll be looking to send out maybe 10,000 tons of coffee every year that could totally change our economy and get many families self-reliant financially. And besides coffee, we're looking at tourism. We are discovering that so many people want to be part of observing the socio-economic change process that we have gotten going. For the last 10 years working with UDI, we have got transforming interventions in the water and sanitation sector. These are very, very oppressive problems that people are excited to see how we are bringing change. We have got programs in food security, which foods make the most difference. We have got programs in international development and education. People from universities in this country are coming in to learn and watch and participate and give. We have got all sorts of culture studies programs that we can have in place. So volunteerism, like you would call it, people coming in to serve and paying something to the community which is hosting them, is another enterprise sector we are working with. And then we are also working to connect our young people with chambers of commerce so that whatever they are doing, they can do better. That those growing vegetables can do it better, those keeping livestock can do it better, so that we are selling things in the local market and in the international market. So entrepreneurship, development, and wealth creation is the heart of sustainability. We're even looking at writing and publishing books. Many people use statistics to describe human problems and to quantify the changes they are bringing to communities. But we are changing our paradigm on this. We are getting people from the whole world to come alongside our children and the young people who are victims of poverty and actually telling the story from the point of view of the victims. And we think these stories will be wonderful ways of communication. We look at music and the musical nature of the African persons. If well recorded, how much an impact can that make? So between UDI and Chief Code, we are taking a very sustainable approach, making sure we provide for the very poor people to access education and health care and food and clothing, but at the same time having an integrated process of showing them the products which, if developed well, can make them independent financially and generate their own local community. And this also anticipates the creation of jobs for the people we are educating. If we are educating people en masse, like we have 3,000 kids in all our schools now, and we also anticipate to know that our economy is not yielding as many jobs as we would like, then the onus is also on us to have a wealth creation program to see how the people coming through our schools don't always need to look for a job, but can actually create enterprises and employ other people. And if you interview about 5 or 10 of the most influential alumni of our educational program, some of them have started nursery schools. Nursery schools are very prime projects. They are very light in their capital outlay. They are giving a service that the government is not giving at all, so many are creating nursery schools. Many of them are writing contracts to supply vegetables to the hotels. Many of them are buying cereals after harvest and storing to sell a few months later and making money that way. And many of them are creating cooperatives so that 20 graduates are actually importing a container of clothes or of domestic utensils, and then they're already selling them in the markets and coming back to the center. So looking both at the educational program, the wealth creation program, and the graduate employment program, we are making quite a great impact, and what we need is to increase our efforts so that we can multiply our achievement and serve the whole of Uganda.